Hello, ladies.
Hi,
Uh,
Auntie
Hello.
Disney.
Peace, y'all.
Welcome to episode 17 of Auntie Listen. I almost said episode 7. That was way long ago. We're going to start with our quote. I can't change the direction of the wind, but I can adjust my sails to always reach my destination. And that is by Jimmy Dean. What do you guys think of the quote?
By Heavy D.
Huh?
You said Heavy
No,
D?
no, Jimmy Dean.
Oh. Oh, wait a minute. The sausage guy?
I believe it might be the sausage guy. Yeah.
I love his sausage. That's my favorite sausage.
If
That's my
it's
favorite
The
sausage.
ground
it
sausage.
Yep.
yes, I like his too. If it's the same guy, then yes, it's the sausage
Okay.
guy. But I am
No,
not 100% sure that it's the sausage guy. So if
shout out to
I'm
Jimmy
wrong,
Dean.
Marva,
don't come after me. I'm just
Auntie Marva heard Heavy D. I was thinking James Dean. I'm like, he said stuff like that? Trouble without a cause.
I'm gonna say, come on, Heavy.
But that was, I like that one because we can't control this stuff, right? But we can control our,
Reaction.
how we, yes, and adjusting.
yes, exactly. Oh, Auntie Marva, you're driving home, so you won't be able to do the
I mean,
announcement.
I was gonna finagle it.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Y'all wasn't gonna know how I was gonna do it, but I was gonna do it.
Oh, okay, all right. So I'm turning it over to you.
Okay, so we got some announcements. We got a few announcements here. Um, so everybody, always remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share our shows. We want you to bring in one or two of your family and friends and colleagues that you think would enjoy this podcast right along with you. You can find and follow us on YouTube. We have our shows on YouTube at Auntie Listen Podcast. You can type that in the search bar and it will populate. You can go to Instagram, type in Auntie Listen, type that into the search engine and it will populate. And go to X, formerly known as Twitter, Auntie List 52888, and TikTok, Auntie Listen. And also, you can take advantage of our Patreon at Auntie Listen, patreon.com/auntie listen. You can get early access for $5 subscription. And you can click on our affiliate links and enjoy some of our perks. We got Amazon, Bad Bath and Beyond, Target, Walgreens, Walmart, and the Great Discovery. So help a friend to help a friend to hear a good old podcast like Auntie Listen. Back to you, Auntie.
You're welcome. Oh, and don't forget about our merch at Auntie
Oh
Listen
yes, we got our
on
Shopify,
Shopify.
myshopify.com, Auntie Listen merch. We got merch.
Yes, go check out
Got
our merch. Okay, thank you for the announcements.
you
So,
welcome.
Awareness Month for October. So, all of this took place on the 1st. ADHD, LGBTQ plus history, National Book, Socktober, and World Vegetarian Day. On the 4th was Kindness to Animals Day. On the 5th was World Teachers Day. On the 10th, World Homeless Day. On the 11th, National Coming Out Day. On the 16th, World Hunger Day. On the
Oh,
second Thursday was World Sight Day. The third Thursday was Spirit Day. And the whole month is celebrating Hispanic heritage. And so this month's show is topic is from Auntie Marva, and it is conversing with the spirits. So our first topic is where are you on your spiritual journey,
who's going first?
Auntie Jenny, Auntie Marva?
So, where I am with my spiritual journey, so Auntie Janisha and I have been talking lately, often, and a couple of years ago, started, well, This search started a long time ago. Our spiritual journey, early on, we were raised as Jehovah's Witnesses. We talked about that before. And I have long ago stopped attending services, and you know we was doing the thing. Sister Matthews, that was our road dog. Shout out to Sister Matthews. Love her, peace out. R.I.P. Sister Matthews. She would pick us up and we would go door to door, pass out magazines, and um, spread the word. All of the learning that I know of the Bible, we we learned within that religion, and through the helpings and the teachings of Sister Matthews, understanding of Sister Matthews. It was so thorough. It was so thorough that Auntie Denise, you could say that we were probably a little slightly more advanced than people that weren't in the Kingdom Hall when it came to the Bible. Yay, nay.
I would say that, yes.
That's not a jab or putting anybody down. It's just I believe that was all just a contribution of Sister Matthews by her being a teacher and then her being a follower of the religion. And it just the understandings was just so great, and it didn't end. You know, it was dead end. That's what we did. We were those witnesses. But when I became an adult, I wanted to find my own path, so I went down, as many people do, to different types of churches, different denominations, and I tried some, fell in love with some, fell out of love with some, and then eventually landed with just kind of separating myself from quote church quote, and said I just wanted to be spiritual. I just wanted a relationship with God. That opened the door to actual, when you're typing in spirituality, that will open the door to is that a religion where they call it spirituality? Anyways, it's highlighting the followings and the teachings of other gods, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oshun, Yemiya, um,
African
like
spirituality is,
Af-
I guess,
African
what they're calling
spirituality.
it. Most people call it,
Yes.
yeah.
And I took a liking to it. I did take a liking to it. I took a good understanding. I started digging and researching because y'all know I always say I'm a nerd first. I took an understanding to a lot of it. So a lot of it was still very confusing, but a lot of it made sense to me. And I continue to just research and dig and bring it into my mind and into my heart. But there was never there was never a time that I ever said any of this stuff is higher than God. Like there is no God, because I know there's a God, and the reason why I know that is He's performed actual miracles in my life and showed me that He exists. So I know God exists. I never ever will I ever say ain't no God. It's the many gods, and there are, but He is the ultimate God. He is the true God, right?
Mm-hmm.
But fast forward, I've been feeling like I'm missing something. I've been feeling like something is lacking in my life. And so I've been taken aback a little bit, and I've been getting back into my word slowly. I started a few years ago, about 3 or 4 years ago, writing again, writing because I would write my prayers. I always wrote my prayers. Started writing again, writing my prayers. Um, Praying like deeply and asking questions and looking and searching for understanding and getting back in my Bible. I ordered some new Bibles, um, just so I can because I just felt like what I was just following the African spirituality wasn't it.
Oh,
It's
you
not
you
it.
broke up. You broke up? Can you repeat that part again?
Yeah, I just been feeling like it wasn't enough. Like the African spirituality just wasn't enough. So I took a step back and just started getting back into the word to what makes sense with my mind and my heart. And I think it was about a week ago, Johnny said I wanted to find a church home to go to. I know that there will be a balance with that because I don't know, I always fall out with a church. Not not necessarily saying that I'm arguing or fighting with anybody in the church, but just some of the teachings and the doctrines just don't mesh. But I do need to congregate. I need to congregate.
You broke up. Say that part again. It doesn't match in what?
It doesn't. I don't really. I say I fall out with churches. I just sometimes some of the doctrines don't make sense.
Right.
Sometimes the doctrines just don't make sense. But I need to be able to congregate. I need to congregate in fellowship with some like minded individuals. But I am this time asking God to bring these individuals to me, or and find this church home for me, and not me just out here fishing, if you will.
Gotcha.
So long answer turned short. Where I am in my spirituality, I am still searching. I am still digging. I am still seeking God. I am still looking to grow closer and draw closer to Him and grow deeper in Him, because I got this little one and I want him to have a solid foundation and an understanding of who God is for himself, but earlier than when I did. I would like for that path to start sooner for him than it did with me.
Okay. Auntie
Yeah.
Janisha.
Um, Mine is pretty much similar. Um, I'm gonna skip the beginning because Auntie Marva, many of you, if you are just joining us on this podcast, then yes, Auntie Marva and I are sisters, and so much of the beginning of her story is mine. I am a lot older than she is, so my quest to learn more, I've always been inquisitive, and I was told that when I was younger, I was starting trouble or I just need to have faith and whatever. And as a child, even, I just was looking at adults like, you just don't know the answer to what I'm asking you. And I never let up. I never let those um, answers or the pushback shelve my, well, it did. It shelved my curiosity, but it was growing on the shelf. I never let them bury my curiosity. I should say that. So I've always just been very curious as to why we really don't fellowship with those people, or why are they those people, or when it says that it's available to anyone. And it was just always some stuff. I wanted to know what Buddhists and what Muslims and all the people, like, why can't I associate with them? Why can't we even just join a team? Because it's the be of the world but no part of it, and just all the stuff. So I got pregnant at 19, and somewhere during my pregnancy I just got this really intense longing to have those questions answered about those other people that worship differently than how we were taught, because I wanted to know, just in case my child asked me. It was just for that reason. Not really that I wanted to worship with any particular thing, but I wanted to know a lot of different things just because I was gonna now be a mama, right?
Hmm.
So fast forward, like I did actually, and I just realized I raised my children in church as Christians. And we moved a couple of times. So had we not moved, it probably would have been in my mind that yes, they were raised in church. So I everywhere we went, we did have a church home, and I've actually um, served under some really awesome pastors that I still respect, but I still had questions, and I still was looking at people like, you really just don't know the answer to my questions, because there was still the division, and I've never been a person for division. Um, in my, like, I guess over the past 10 years, or no, maybe no, since 2008. So more than 10 years. It might have even started in 2006 when I became a radio co-host. I was The host of the show was Muslim, Nation of Islam, Muslim, the black people under the minister Louis Farrakhan. And then myself, who was raised as a Jehovah's Witness, but have been very adamant this entire time since I stopped practicing that at the age of 15, 16. Um, Not to call myself any particular thing, because I understood those titles are division. And I've always understood, okay, if Jesus came and then he opened it up, not just to his people, but it was to all people, he never even said a religion. There was no title given to it. It was just believe and follow, and this is how you're supposed to love, and you love all these people right here. As a matter of fact, we get that story of Jonah, who was actually told to go talk to those of you that know the story or don't know the story. Jonah was a prophet and he only prophesied to his people, but he was told in no uncertain terms to go on. Now I need you to go and talk to these other people over there in Nineveh. They weren't his people. He didn't want to go, so he went the other direction. And that's the person some of you might be in your memory about the big fish or the whale that swallowed the man. That's the story. Um, because it was open to all people, and I just never understood all of the division, even all of the names that we call them and all that. It just never. I don't like it. I've never liked that. So that led me to um, why are so many people so hateful, like to a certain people, which will be my people. I'm a black woman, right? So it led me over into African spirituality because that was to me ours. And like Auntie Marva was saying, I didn't let go of Jehovah God either. I understood there was a one at the very top if we look at it as a hierarchy situation. But I had also, as a child, read in the Bible where it says, "Ye are gods," and that always stayed in my spirit. And then they taught that we are sons and daughters. That always stayed in my spirit. So again, I never understood why people say, "Oh, we're not gods," but it says it in the text that you're trying to feed me. It says it, and then they're like, "Well, read all the other stuff." I get it. It's warning them that, yeah, if you don't do what you're supposed to do, you're gonna die like dogs, right? So
Mm-hmm.
just all this stuff, it still doesn't take away from the fact that it says, "Yes, ye are gods," and it says it in more than one place. And then again, if we're created in the image of, then that would make us like our Father, like we're supposed to see ourselves as. And then you walk a certain way when you see yourself a certain way. So I've never understood some of the way people teach and try to make us feel like we are just nothing when it keeps saying you are everything in his eyes. And I even went through the um, calling God I didn't say, I, matter of fact, over the past maybe week and a half, I just went back to saying God, which I'm not totally comfortable with because there are many gods, right? Which I just said, small g, true enough, but still, I like to be specific and clear as to who I'm talking about. So I will still use the name Jehovah. Um, I like doing that because even the adversary, Satan, Lucifer, is considered a god. People actually worship that being, that entity. So I do think that clarity is needed, and we are not to assume that somebody is talking about who you're talking about. So that's my thing. And I got into what I would admit to me after I looked at it, it was witchcraft. And I was walking around calling myself a heathen, jokingly, like, all right, whatever, that's what you want to say, I am, whatever. And then I thought that it was okay to do these things because I have read a lot of rituals in the Bible.
Yeah.
And but now it's come into context as I've gone back to read for myself. Nobody's giving me the scriptures to read and then the interpretation of it because I was a child and I did as a child. Now I'm an adult and I have a responsibility to get it for myself. And that's what I've been doing. And it's bringing a lot of things into focus, even including um, where I was kind of pushing away too, because I had read in there where it says slaves, how you're supposed to be obedient to your masters. And that fed into this black liberation and black consciousness space that I had flowed into, right? And now I understand that they didn't have employers back then, right? That's what was considered your master, your employer. So it may be the main may mean the other thing too, because there were slaves. But however, in general, it was really telling you to just do a good job wherever you find yourself.
Right.
Um, so certain things have just fallen into place for me as I've started back reading the Bible for myself. And what has kept me reading the Bible, because what started me off reading the Bible was that emptiness Auntie Marva spoke about. I was doing all the stuff over there, And I got to the place where I was at peace by myself, but I still felt um, something was missing. Like, what in the heck? And then I wanted to do a fast. Somebody talked to me about doing a fast. And as I was researching, I knew that Jesus had done a 40-day fast. Moses would do it, Elijah, certain ones in the Bible, and then certain people outside of the Bible that I've heard of. So I was researching these things. And as I'm researching about fasting, I was reminded about some of this stuff just by happening to read through the text. It's so many promises in the Bible that all you really got to do is love. All you really got to do is walk right. Stuff that I was kind of doing anyway, but I needed to shore up right.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas on the other side, a lot of the stuff I was going through all these rituals, you lighting incense, you doing it's like busy work. It just to keep me busy, but it didn't have me grounded in a with any assurance of peace, life, love, nothing, because you have to turn around and do it again. If I need some bills paid, I gotta do the money rituals again. You're always having to go and do this. Whereas it was so simple. It just says, "Oh, your there's 10 commandments, true enough." And even with my yacht, there's like I think 142 of those, if you want to look at it from an African standpoint. But at the same time, really, we are only tasked over everything to love. Which if you ain't full of hate, that's so easy. I ain't gotta be burning no incense, lining up no crystals, doing all this stuff, and all those stuff might work, but they are creation. I am creation. So it was common sense to me to just really go back and focus on the creator. What are the basic things? Stop making it so hard, ma. Just look at the creator. What does he want me to do? And that's where I am. And my life has been, I don't feel that longing anymore. I don't feel the something is missing anymore.
Okay. So, Auntie Marva has sent me over this article. Where are you on your spiritual journey with? It's an article by Helen Emery, and it was posted on medium.com. And when I was reading it, I was like, "Oh, this is where I'm at." So because she goes on to say like there's two direct paths. There's two paths. There's the direct path and there's the progressive path. And when you're feeling stuck, you have to sit back and ask yourself, you know, where am I? Who am I? What am I feeling? Um, you know, and so myself, from reading her article, I am more on the direct path because I'm always it says that the direct path refers to an exploration that goes straight to the heart of things. Who am I really? It looks directly at this question and therefore directly at what we are not and what is not essential to us. And then the second, the progressive path, is the path of meditation, focusing the mind on a mantra, the breath, or another object to train it to settle, to train us to settle, with the promise that if you meditate enough, you will wake up. So I'm like, okay, so I am more of the direct path. And so like Auntie John and I were having a conversation a couple of weeks ago, and she was like, "Oh, we'll just read your Bible and you'll get your answer." And my question to her was, "Why do I need to read my Bible? Why can't I just go to the source?" And so I was saying that for me, when if I have a question, I just go directly to Heavenly Father and ask Him. You know, and and so we were talking about that, and so she was also and I thought this was really interesting because she was like, "Am I stuck? What now?" Those were like two questions, and so The first one was like, check for yourself with your own experience. That's always your guidance system. Does your experience of life feel loving, easeful, and obvious, even if the words you say are seemingly strong? Or does it feel contradicted, conflicty, or defensive? And then the second one is to be honest. Be really lovingly honest about where you're in conflict with something or someone. Be really loving honest about where it looks like your way is the right way, or does it have to be that way? Be really loving honest about where you're clinging to a singular um, perspective. And then the last one is get in touch. If you want to test out with me where the next stage of your life journey might lie, as you can see, I've transferred most of it, so I can point you in a multitude of directions for the next step. So, and I think I've always been like direct. And when I have when I question, like when I go to church and people say things that are like illogical or contradictory, I'm like, I don't get that. I don't understand that. And so I just go straight to the source and I'm like, okay, so explain it to me, you know. So I'm more of the direct path. And
May I
then
speak to you? I'm sorry. Go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, no, no,
But I
go ahead.
had one to no finish yours, and then I have one to speak to that. And I'm only wanting to speak to it because you're sharing what some how someone else's perspective that they put out.
Yeah, no, no, no. Go ahead. Go ahead because I was going to move on to the next thing. So go ahead.
Okay, so um, hearing that, that's where I was, and I know it's just me, but that's what brought me to leaning on me. And the Bible warns us about leaning on self. And I went hook, line, sinker into it's within me and all of the stuff. And I still love the idea of that, but it requires some balance. And a lot of times when I hear articles like that, it leaves off. It's like it's totality. It's in you, right? And that's how I made so many mistakes, though. And I would never let anybody tell me that I'm not a level-headed person. I am a fair person. I really think things out. I'm a planner. You know this Capricorn, and I still do claim my zodiac.
Yeah.
Um, but I just that's me. I do find that I'm a level-headed person, and I plan things and I weigh things out and all the stuff. But still, it got me into spaces, and I have come to accept it's because I only relied on me. And
So
I look at people all around, all of us, we're relying on self, which causes us to do things based on self, but it's not good for the whole. So then and that is backed up by look at society. Everybody's doing for self because they're looking at what they want and how they feel
o- okay. So
rather than a common good.
okay. So but it is my belief that we are put on the earth to experience things, to learn and grow. Okay?
Agreed. Mhm.
So if we don't do things for self, because like you said, you make mistakes. Yeah, we all make mistakes, but that's how we learn and grow. So
True.
are you looking at them as a growing experience? Because that's how I look at it. I look at it
No,
as a growing experience.
I wasn't saying that we weren't going to make mistakes. And I
No, 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 no,
I
no,
I
no.
didn't.
I-
No, no, I'm responding to what you're saying specifically. I didn't say that we would not make mistakes. My point was that we only look to self in the growing. When we, let's say just the three of us, because some of our listeners may not even believe in the Most High God, and we've all three said, you haven't on this call right here, Auntie. But Marva said she never said that there was no God. She still stayed with that. So did I. But I was trying to do something else. It was like duplicity, right? Being a double mind is what it actually is. But for the listeners, you also believe in the Most High. In all the time that we've gotten to know you, we were leaving the Most High out of our conversation. We would talk about these plans and all this stuff, never shared with each other in conversation that, you know what, I'm going to go pray on it. It is implied who we're praying to, but we never even just talked about, like, we were totally leaving it out. That's my thing. So the mistakes might not be as big or might not be at all if we would consult with the person, the spirit that created us. It's, and it came to me really clearly one day when my son, who's an adult, was not listening to me and lashed out at me. It hit me so hard. But that's how you are. Like spirit said that. That's how you are. You want to do everything your way. When I got wisdom over you, when I designed you, only thing I didn't design my son. The
right.
creator of us knows us through and through, and really we would not have so much heartache if we would seek it out. That was my point. A lot of times
So
I've relied on those types of articles and people to talk that way and just totally move further and further away from also either absolutely going to source or also considering source in the matter. That's all I was
right,
saying.
right. And so my question to you was, aren't we? Isn't that part of our learning and growing experience? That's what I was
I heard,
asking.
yes, I heard your question, but that's like, if you can look at it this way, um, a child that has to put their hand on a hot stove to understand it's hot. Don't you just want them to listen to you, baby? That's hot. Don't put your hand up there.
But
Period. We don't have to
right,
experience a thing. For my father was on crack for much of my life until I was an adult when he finally straightened up. I don't need to experience crack to know it's not the thing to do. It's not the move. You know what I mean?
right.
We don't
Yes.
have to make the mistakes to learn. It's just
Okay,
not
so
necessary.
right. Okay, so you're saying we don't have to make the mistakes to learn, but for some people, the learning is in the mistake.
Absolutely. I would say in all of us, if we sit back and we can, well, for me, I can sit back
Okay.
and I can look at all the stuff that I've done, and I know what lesson I got out of everything except this one thing I sit with. I have no idea why, and it'll come to me at some point because I don't think nothing is for nothing. But however, did I really have to interact with that person to know, like my grandma say, lard greasy? That's an old school way of saying to know, or like I didn't have to. Again, I didn't have to go and get on crack to know that crack isn't for me.
Right.
The lesson is, and somebody else got went through that, and I can learn from looking at them,
Okay.
right? So we don't
Right.
have to go through the stuff that we go through, but it's really
But
not about the going through it. It's really about how we are um, entertaining the notion. Are we just looking inside and we have all these desires and stuff, right?
right.
But can we also look to someone with more knowledge? That's my thing. And all I was saying, all I was saying is that's those kinds of articles and people that leave the most high out of the conversation was stuff that I was following. And at some point now at this point I realized I was just following stuff and it sounded good. And if I had just really considered, you know what, is this something I need to be entertaining? Do I should I really just only be looking within, or do I seek counsel, seek wise counsel? Even when we talk about a counselor or a psychologist, some of us need some serious help. It's not just within.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay. No, okay. Yeah. So the other article that Auntie Marva sent over was called Beliefs and Daily Lives of Muslims, article posted on pbs.org. And all of the links will be in the description. And I found this really interesting because they have six major beliefs. The first one is belief in the oneness of God. The second, belief in the angels of God, belief in the books of God, belief in the prophets or messengers of God, belief in the day of judgment, and the last one is belief in the divine decree. I'm not going to read all of the definitions for them. You can look up, you can click on the link and read the article for yourself for that. I mean, it's a whole huge, huge article. And I, me personally, not knowing anything about um, Muslims and what they believe and stuff like that, I found this very interesting and very eye opening. So, Auntie Marva, what are your thoughts on that? On their six major beliefs? Did we lose Auntie Marva?
She's still on here, but
Yeah,
muted. She might be going through an area because she was on the move.
yeah, she is. So until we get her back, what do you think about that, Auntie Janisha?
Um, I agree with those. I would like to know more about that last one though, because that sounds more like what you're. Say the title of it again. The sixth one.
Be- Belief in the divine decree.
Right. That one kind of lends to interpretation, which is without having read it. Um, is how I believe that we've come to have all these different religions in the first place.
Okay,
You know,
so
everybody stands on their own thing.
I'll read that one. So it says,
Okay.
this article of faith addresses the question of God's will. It can be expressed as the belief that everything is governed by divine decree, namely that whatever happens in one's life is preordained, and that believers should respond to the good or bad that befalls them with thankfulness or patience. This concept does not negate the concept of free will, since humans do not have prior knowledge of God's decree. They do have freedom of choice. And we
Okay.
lost Auntie Marva. She
Yeah,
dropped off.
that's what I was about to just say. Um, so as far as the things are preordained, like that's I hear that argument between people. I can't
Hmm.
say whether or no because it almost sounds like with what I was saying, I don't have to experience the thing to learn from the thing. But with that kind of thinking, it's almost like I was or was not ever going to or always going to encounter the thing. It didn't matter what I did.
Right.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So I
Yes.
don't know. I don't know anything about that. I don't even know that it can be proven. So I don't. But again, that if that's what they believe, that's what I was saying. It sounds like the next church might have everything else that they believe, but they don't believe that part. So then they separate themselves from those people and call themselves by a different name. An example is, and I think it's funny, it's sad and funny at the same time, more funny to me. We had a situation at a church in our local city, um, and it divided the church straight down the middle. And they had kind of a large congregation, and I'm not going to say the name of their church because I've joked on them enough, but
You're
it
so funny.
let's just say greater let's just say God's church in Union. I'm just
Oh,
using that's fictitious in my mind. I've never heard that before. So
okay.
the people that stayed there, they continue to be God's church in Union. The other one, they went not too many blocks away and they built a whole church and they named it Greater God's Church in Union. I always thought that was so funny and petty and a whole lot of other stuff. Like, what are we doing, people? But
Right.
the issue that split them down the middle, it was very, very serious. And I don't even know, because I didn't visit either of the churches, if their philosophies even parted ways. They were just split over an issue, right? So they might still
Right.
have the same um, vision or what have you. But that's how we get all these things. Somebody don't like what somebody else has to say, so we go and do something else. So um, th- I go with I follow all of those first five, but it's that one that I have no idea about, and I am still growing. So I don't latch myself to a particular um, creed, except I know I'm supposed to be loving. I know there's a one God, there's a oneness, and all the stuff, and it's available to all of us. That's just where I am.
Yeah.
So I'm with them until they decide that I gotta be rigid and follow what some man put together.
Okay. I see, and I feel differently. I do feel that we are preordained. I feel like we are born we are born on the path, and and whatever path we're born on, that's our path. And that's what we're going to do. And we're not going to veer from that. But that's just me. So I do believe that we are preordained.
The reason
So,
why,
oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, were we moving on?
I was going to go to the next part, but go ahead.
Oh,
Because this
so
was because they have two parts, and I was, but go ahead.
okay, just speaking on that, I mostly lean against the preordained simply because we have free will. And that's another thing that caused me to really embrace again um, the Bible and the word of the Most High God, because He is so loving that He doesn't even make us love Him. The
Right.
other things that I was participating in, um, after I thought about it, I'm like, why did I didn't pledge my allegiance, but why was I aligning myself with entities that it says they have all this? Um, Not one of them says that. Okay, so one of the goddesses, she's the goddess of love, but it never said that she loves you. I never got that. That's just what her title. One was the god of metal, but I mean, not that he's gonna protect you with it. Like you had to do these um again rituals to get that stuff. However, over here, it says that you're automatically given all of these blessings just by being and acknowledging and walking a certain way, right?
Mm-hmm.
So but it you're not forced, you're not tricked into it, you're not nothing, and it's because of free will. So it's our biggest blessing. I was listening to Dr. Miles Monroe, as a matter of fact, earlier today, and it was a reminder with something that he said about free will is both our biggest blessing, and he didn't say curse, but I'm using that, and our biggest curse, because we can use it to be okay, but we also can use it to be totally not okay. And we're
Right.
not forced in any direction. It's just available to us. That doesn't come from the other stuff I was dabbling in.
Right.
There's no fear, there's nothing that the most high God is doing to us. So with that being said, like I don't have to follow him. So there is no possible way in my mind that I would still get to the same place if I totally turn my.
Right. No, I get that. Yeah, I get that. So the second part of this is they have the five pillars or acts of worship in Islam. And the first one is the declaration of faith, and I can't pronounce the actual word in Islam. And then prayer, charity, and fasting, and then pilgrimage to Mecca, which that one I'll read that one because I was just like, wait, I don't get it. But
Oh,
so
you
it
never heard
says,
of it? Yeah.
No, it says every Muslim is required to make the pilgrimage to Mecca, located in Saudi Arabia, once in their lifetime, if financially and physically able. Mecca is home to the first house of worship of God, the Kaaba, said to have been built by the prophet Abraham and his son Ishmael. Muslims all over the world face towards the Kaaba when they pray. All outward symbols of rank and wealth are erased during the pilgrimage as Muslims from every part of the globe come together for the purpose of worshiping God. Muslims who complete the pilgrimage are referred to as, and hopefully I pronounced this correctly, Haji, and greeted with great celebration and respect in their communities when they return. So once I read that, I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. So I was like, oh, okay, so that would be like um other religions who where they go on missions and
No,
kind I don't know.
it's it's literally what you read. Like they're not on a mission. Because okay, well maybe I shouldn't have said no, but is a mission in your mind like when they go to spread the word? Is that
Yes.
kind of what? Okay, yeah, they're not going except for their presence in the holy space.
Right.
And in the scriptures, Jesus and his family did the same thing. When they traveled back, that's what they were there for. Traveled to, I think it was Nazareth, right? Bethlehem, somewhere. One of those places. Because he grew up, remember, in Egypt, if
Right.
you remember. Yeah, when they traveled home, that's what that was for, because it was a thing. And that's a part of what I'm talking about too. Like, there was a lot of rituals and a lot of religious organizations still have people doing, and not just I won't even say religious, spiritual practices. Like all these things are practices, right? So religions and spiritual systems have people doing these rituals, these things over and over. But as you read the New Testament, the point of Jesus' coming was so that we can gain the Holy Spirit back, which I just learned that's a big part of it, because we
Right.
lost that with Adam, if you believe the story. But also so we don't have to do all these rituals anymore, because if you look at the whole New Testament, it doesn't even talk about sacrificing any of these, all this stuff, and the travel. It doesn't talk about any of it. All they were doing was spreading the message of the kingdom. He came to do away with all of these things, and getting caught up, my getting caught up was a lot of the old stuff that we're not under that anymore. Even like eye for an eye, we're not under any of those things anymore. And the
Right.
traveling, not coming against them, but that was one of those things they had to do. The religious, again, and not no disrespect, but the praying 5 times a day, because what you didn't just read is that no matter where they are, and I don't know if you've ever seen a Muslim person, they'll take out a little mat at
Yes.
certain times a day, yes, and they will turn to the east, because
Yeah.
that's where Mecca is, and they pray, and it's, I think it's 5 times a day. Like those are all religious rituals that we're not under anymore. But again, it depends on how you believe, right?
Right.
That's going to cause you to do it or not do it.
Right.
But that's what, there's such freedom in what is available to us.
Right.
And that's just what I'm saying where I am now. There's so much freedom that yes, you can get caught out there and start doing other stuff. and
Yes.
then me feeling the emptiness. Because what in the heck are you doing? Is where I ended up.
Right.
Freedom.
Yeah. So the thing that I really liked about this is how no matter what your class, you all come together and you're
Yeah.
like as one
Hmm.
to worship. I loved that part.
Yeah, that is a very beautiful thing. And it's
Yes.
something that I can say too. Like, of course, I grew up a Christian. It was Jehovah's Witness, but that type of Christian. And we don't really, even like in other places, like they do things. I will say, what I've always admired is religiously. They will take the time to do all of those things. Whereas here, we call it practice because we keep starting over every Sunday. In general, that's what you see. People are willing to, and I'm not pushing them up on high for this, but it's just an observation. People are really willing to die in other faiths for what they say they believe in. Like you strapping a bomb to yourself and you are ready to, yes, take you and other people out because of what you say you believe. That's not our faith here in this country. The pre the Christian faith
Yes.
doesn't teach you to even have that kind of passion. And I don't envy it because, you know, I
Right.
don't envy it. But I'm just saying that's the level of commitment that we don't have. So I admire certain things about people. It's just the where it can get you at it. Of course not. But like we play with it here. I'll just say that. And to be a
Right.
Christian nation, to look at the filth and corruption, yeah, I think we're not a Christian nation.
Now, the other thing about
Not really.
their religion um that I really loved and didn't know is that they don't have a hierarchy in their clergy, and their leaders don't have the power to forgive people of their sins, which always struck me as odd. It's like, wait, why am I going to you for forgiveness and not going to Heavenly Father, who is the one that can forgive me? I always struggled with that. I'm like, I don't get that. Why don't who who are you to be like, "Oh, I forgive you of your sins," or to discipline me of my wrongdoings. You know what I mean?
I do. I do. And I've heard that with the Catholic Church. Like, that's why you go to confession and stuff like that. And then they say that. It's like you have a conduit um, or a liaison to the Most High. And I got to keep saying, there again, we have a direct line. And that was part, again, of what Jesus came to do away with all of those things. Some of it already was man made, and some of it was. Um, biblical that they were doing with the ritual, some of the rituals and some of the stuff, but all of that was done away with. We are able to do it for self.
Yes,
Not supposed
because
to forsake coming together, but at the same time, it is an individual walk and a relationship, and you study to show thyself approved. So all of this getting the word from your pastor every Sunday and going just off that, we're supposed to be reading the word for ourselves so it can be shored up in our self. And it's something that you said earlier about going straight to, like, if you have a question instead of reading the Bible.
mhm.
A friend of mine, a classmate of mine, we speak, well, we used to be really on schedule with it. Every Monday we talk about what he learned in church on that Sunday, and then we kind of like dissect the parts, whatever, and stuff, and like, okay, this and that. And it finally came out that he doesn't read his Bible. And he said, I am not going to read my Bible. He said what you said, but you didn't say you weren't going to read your Bible ever. You don't trust it. He said that. He said that he doesn't trust it. He just goes straight to the Most High. So my thing was, So when you have a question, I said some okay, my point was that some stuff you don't even have to ask. If you did read, his big thing was when the preacher is preaching, if he doesn't understand, he goes to the Most High. But I was saying, brother, if you read the Bible where you keep going to this same one pastor, he's up there and he has the Bible open. He doesn't tell y'all, because I've listened in, he doesn't tell y'all to turn to such and such page. So you're just going off of the fact that he's getting it from there, but you can't even question whether he actually got it from there because you're not looking for him to give you a scripture, nothing. And then if he's saying something, he's claiming it's coming from there. True enough, you don't trust the Bible, but at least wouldn't you want to know that this man is making this stuff up, pretending it's coming from the book? I don't kind of get that part. And my thing with them too was like, you have questions, but you would automatically know it if you read what is supposed to be the word of God. Let's just say it's not, but you read other self help books. You don't mind calling me, asking me my opinion for things. I said, why does that make you so comfortable? But you won't go to the thing that at least we all can agree was inspired by God. Because I agree, yeah, it wasn't written by God, but at least we all agree that they say it was inspired by. So read it for yourself so that you can at least pick out when people are pulling your leg, talking about they got it out the Bible and it didn't come from there, or they're
Right.
saying it wrong. That's not what it means.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So because they were like I love this part cuz it says every individual has a direct relationship with God without any intermediary. And I'm like, "Thank you."
Hmm.
I'm like, "Thank you." That's what I've been saying. I'm like, "Why? I could just go straight to him. I don't need any of this other stuff." And so I was just like, "Thank you so much for like confirming that for me."
Yeah, because we're all sons and daughters with the free will. He's my father. He's a God, makes me a God. Definitely. Nobody can take that away. Auntie,
Right.
do you call yourself a Christian? What do you call yourself these days?
No, I call myself spiritual. I'm spiritual.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I never was comfortable with Christian, and it was a sobering reason why, but sometimes I've understood that it was also an arrogant reason why. And Auntie Marva, she had shared how we studied a lot more.
Yeah.
And she left off one part, like the lady that we used to ride around with a lot, she was a classroom teacher, a very good one too, because she taught at my elementary school. And everybody always spoke of her, and she was a very kind and gentle person, so she just had that motherly teacher spirit, and it whenever she picked us up, it gave us a break from being, I love my grandma, but she was just very hard and harsh.
Mm.
And what I was saying is the other part that Auntie Marva didn't share is that in our household, when we weren't with that older sister, we really had to study a lot, our schoolwork and the Bible. So we just got in us. And I was one of those little arrogant children that I always wanted to go out and knock on doors as a Jehovah's Witness, because I knew good and well it never failed. I was gonna meet at least three people that was gonna leave the door open for me to talk to them because I was a kid and try and teach me something. And I would always get them to be quiet because I knew what I was talking about. And I would tell them go and get their Bible, and I would show it to them and stuff like that. That was always cool to me, that I knew more than a lot of adults that I met at the door because we had to study. So of course we would know, right? But I still didn't want to call myself a Christian because I looked at how people treated each other. And again, a Christian nation. I didn't know that term then, but I knew that most people around me, and then when I watched TV, they were calling themselves Christians, but it's so wicked. What is going on? And I didn't use the word wicked either, but it's like so much bad going on. I guess is the word that I used as a child. Like how they calling
Right.
each other Christian. I don't want to be that. That was me. and I'm still kind of there. And I asked you what you are, but I consider myself a kingdom citizen
A
because when
kingdom
you,
citizen?
yeah, or a daughter of the Most High, those are the two things that and I've been using daughter of the Most High for a long time when I was out dabbling in other things because I've always
Okay.
recognized, again, like the oneness of God and the creator of all things, and the yes, I accept that that is my father, and I'm following everything that I was told was yours, but um yeah, I'm still belong to you, like you're still my father and still the stuff, so yes, daughter, always that. But
S-
the kingdom citizen, it talks about that in the New Testament. That's what Jesus came to say. The kingdom is here. And it says he brought the kingdom on his shoulders. And we're to be, again, of the world, but no part of it because we're a whole different, peculiar people. All these things that I'm saying, they're found throughout the Bible. Like we're here, we're just here.
Right.
We're not like the others, if I should
Oh,
say it
okay.
like that. Could say it like that.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe that was a Jehovah Witness term because
Mm-mm.
they go by because they're a kingdom hall. So I just thought that that was like your
Yep. I
um,
when I thought about that one day, maybe about a month ago, I was like, they've been onto something the whole time. You know, there's a
years.
lot of stuff from growing up a Jehovah's Witness that I haven't let go of.
Yeah.
But again, I love the passion of those people. Don't nobody mince my words or do a clip. I'm gonna say what I'm saying. Just open your mind to what I'm saying. People that strap bombs on themselves in in because of their religion, I respect the passion because we play with ours over here in no uncertain terms. That's just what it is. You can't get one
Okay.
of us to really die for what we claim that we believe over here. That's just not what we generally do. And then even like with the Nation of Islam, I love how the brothers and sisters there, they dress modestly, and the men are always men, the women are always women. I love that about them. I love how Buddhists, they teach the peacefulness and the oneness with the environment and respect for nature. I absolutely love that. You know, there's all of everybody has something if we were just put it together
Yes,
under
and
the
that
hood.
was yes, and that was the next thing I was going to talk
Oh,
about
I'm sorry, I
was
jumped
no no no
ahead.
no no nope nope you didn't jump, it just led into the next part of it, and it is the roles of women in Islam. And I'm not going to read all of it. You can just go to the link and read the article for yourself, but the first one is marriage, the second one is family life, the third one is public life. The fourth one is modesty. And then the last one is relations between men and women. Yeah. And so one of the things that really like the only really thing that I knew about Muslim women is that um, when they go out in public, they have to cover themselves up because only their husbands can see their hair and their bodies, and that's pretty much really all I knew, which isn't really a whole lot. But I can respect that though. I mean, I don't know if because I would feel claustrophobic. I don't know because I have claustrophobia. I don't know how how I would do in that. I don't know.
Yeah, I respect it. I'm not for oppression, and I
But
haven't gotten to the place um where I'm okay with any type of oppression for religious reasons or for any reason. Like it's just don't sit right with me. Um,
right,
so I like the freedom in what I'm doing now. However, there is a scripture in the Bible. I can't remember where it is, but it talks about women not, um, I think it was Paul that was writing to the church, one of the churches back in there when he was in prison. I think it was
Okay.
Paul. But he's saying about women not wearing their hair braided and the jewelry and just being modest. And I
Oh,
read that and I'm like, what is this mess right
we
here?
gon' we gonna have some issues because we braid our hair all the time.
Right. But the thing is, I had to, when I stepped away and I was latching on to different things again with the um, obey your masters thing and certain other stuff. I let people, or because of my own quest and distaste for things that I was seeing and experiencing through other people, right? Um,
Right.
I allowed my mind to just go with the sound bite,
Mm.
even with the Bible is the white man gave Africans the Bible kind of thing. I leaned that direction for a little while, but that didn't make any sense because it came up out of Africa. Like that's just what it is. I know where Samaria is located on the map. I love geography, so that quickly went away. Like we had this stuff already. We just branched down into other stuff. But as far as my hair, I love being a black woman. I walk around, I will declare it. I don't let anybody tell me no. But he loves all of us. I didn't say he didn't. I just said I appreciate how I was made. Just like all the different flowers, all different animals, all different whatever. I don't feel that we should be made to feel small just to make everybody else feel like none of that. And I don't do the superiority stuff. But particularly with the hair, I have, we talked about black hair on here before on one of
Yes.
the other episodes. I
Our first
have the kinkiest hair. If you will pull up the hair chart, there is a hair chart. I have the kinkiest one. If I don't plait or twist my hair, I'm going to be looking really, really crazy around here.
like
The
you
Most
stuck
High
your finger
God,
in a light socket.
exactly. The Most High God know what He gave me. I got to do something with it. And it has to be something drastic like braiding or plaiting or something else. So I didn't believe that that was for everybody. And as I did research, because I have some pastors that I've heard some modern ones talking about that, which is what led me there. This one in particular, a lot of people like, um, he says that. And you can't wear pants. Women shouldn't be wearing pants and all that kind of stuff. When they all wore robes back then, which I jokingly say, but it's real in my mind. They all wore dresses then. So what are we talking about here? I can't wear pants. They didn't even have pants when that was written, right?
Right. Right.
But he, Paul, if it was Paul, I'm going to say that again. If if it was him, he was writing a letter to a particular church. As I did research, those women in that particular church home was getting out of control. And everything in the Bible is really an example of what someone did and how it can lead you astray or what you can do or what you should not do. Everything.
Right.
And that's why it says, study to show thyself approved. Because if something doesn't apply to you, it just doesn't really apply to you. Things only are law and apply to you if you run around trying to break rules all the time. If you don't know how to self govern, because it's in us. The spirit
Right.
is in us, but what we feed our soul is what we generally work off of. So we know we shouldn't steal, kill, lie, but we end up doing those things because life happened. We're doing
Right.
life. I don't know. I've been very wordy on this, but I feel like both a seasoned follower of the Most High, daughter of the Most High, and a newbie at the same time because of the stuff that I learned. And I was telling my friend today, it feels like kind of going into a maze. I was going into a maze and getting lost. And I got to a certain point where, you know what, you need to backtrack. and I've been backing out. And every time I've hit um, a curve or a corner where I had to make that turn, it's been
Mm-hmm.
something familiar to me, but I have new eyes on it now. It looks different walking in the other direction.
Right.
I can really understand things, and that friend that I was telling you to, that I was speaking to, used to talk to every Monday. He was saying that the reason why he was turned off from the Bible was because he was confused when he was younger. And I said,
Mm,
the difference is you're not younger anymore. The difference is you're always talking about you off faith. That means pray that you'll gain understanding where you're not finding it. If you have faith, it's gonna happen. But we're 51. Well, he's 53. Um, I know you can imagine that you're not going to interpret it the same as when you were a teenager or a child, when it was being given to you. Because I imagine you didn't go and read it by yourself. Somebody had you reading it or telling you what it says. Give yourself the opportunity to read it now for yourself. The only thing stopping you is you. That's just what it is. And that's
right.
where we all are. It's available to us, even if you don't come to believe it. It's full of just so much promise and love and comfort. And again, I just wasn't, as I look back and compare it, I was not getting that from any other thing that um, just being out there by myself, I wasn't getting it.
Right. Okay. So the last one, and then this is where you and I clash big time
Okay.
because we have had this discussion so many times. What is the significance of angels? you,
Hmm.
you and I clash big time about angels. Do you want
No,
to
I think that
explain?
we agree. Yeah. I think we agree on their significance. I think it's just really the method or the use of them where we were disagreeing, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
because I said I ask my angels for help for a lot of things. And what did you say? I don't want to put words in your mouth. Tell the people what you
I
said.
I s- I said exactly how we even started this. As far as me and my spiritual journey, what in the world am I praying to angels for? Why am I looking to crystals? Why am I looking to tarot cards when I can go straight to source? Because that one source that we agree that there is a source that created all the things, including the angels. My
Yeah.
thing to you was why pray to the angels? Because that's just like looking to the crystals. You should
Yes.
go to source, the
And I
source of
said
those same angels,
yes. And
because he
I
would know which
said
one to send. Go ahead.
right. And I said because it's their job. And you
Hmm.
said, and what did you
There,
say?
I said that's correct, but that's what I just ended with. But if you pray to the Most High, He would know exactly which angel to send because they all have jobs.
I just asked. Look, I told you I call on the angel that I need for the moment.
And there we went
Because that is
because
their job.
yeah, that's just it. But you don't know which one you need. Look, this whole conversation has been about, as far as from my perspective, I've gotten me in certain things that I didn't have to be in the first place because I
Right.
was looking to me. And it's like when we pray, sometimes our prayers are answered, and sometimes they are not. There's a saying that I've heard a lot recently: rejection is often your protection.
Yeah.
So again, sometimes we don't get our prayers answered and we're upset and stuff like that. And then you look up and you got something even better, something you didn't even know existed, or something you didn't know was better, or all the stuff. If you sit
Right.
back and meditate on it long enough, you can see stuff like that. So as far as leaning on your own understanding, if you pray for a certain angel to assist you with the thing, and that's what you're comfortable with, sometimes you're praying then, if you just said right to what I just said, sometimes you got to understand that you're praying amiss, like you're not praying for the right thing because you don't know what the right thing is. Maybe you're praying the, I think one of the example I gave you was like you're praying for a car, when maybe you might need a jet because your next assignment's going to be across the seas or something, right? You don't need a
Hmm.
car. That's wasted funds. Regardless of who paid for it, it's wasted because you can't take it with you. You need something else. So that's why I was saying, why pray for to the angels, go to the source. Or why am I looking at, I'll say again, which wasn't a part of our conversation, kind of, but it's just an example. Why am I holding these crystals in high esteem or burning these incense for the energy? I know they might help. I do believe in like lavender. It's calming, stuff like that. Because
Right.
I'm an herbalist, we put sage in our, not sage, but like let's say, well, yeah, there's edible sage, but like oregano has healing properties,
Right.
stuff like that. But it's not to be, um, those things are not given to us to use. Like we're given dominion over all the earth and the richness therein. It says that. Like the Most High is not trying to hold anything away from us, but the thing that we do is we start looking to the stuff rather than
Right.
the Most High to even know how to use the stuff, to know how not to abuse this stuff.
Eh,
All this stuff, we're just trying to wing it and do our own thing. Like, again, my son. And I was reminded, girl, that's what you do too. You need to seek
yeah.
me more.
Yeah. So we have to move on. So we're gonna move on to loving connections. So
Yes.
in this one, again, you guys know the beginning part. I'm not gonna tell you the beginning part. You know that part. So in this one, you're naming five things you want from your partner.
Mm,
And
good
since
one.
Auntie Marva isn't here to do career corner, I guess I'll do that for her. So the first one is dice.com, and those are for the tech people, and flex.amazon.com. It's for the to do deliveries for Amazon as an independent contractor. And then the next one is a real estate photographer, and you can Google that. There are companies that hire people to go and take pictures and do videography for homes that are empty, that they post up on Zillow and stuff like that. And also that's as a independent contractor, or they may hire you as an employee as well. And then the last one is to be a commercial inspector, and that's where you're just going out to businesses to verify that they are in compliance with their insurance policy. And you can do that as well as a independent contractor or as an employee. And so,
So,
oh, go ahead.
dice.com, what was that one for?
That's for the tech people.
Okay.
That's for your techies.
Not me.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get into.
Yeah.
Techies.
And I'm proud of you too because you have made some headway.
Thank you. And so we are going into open topics. So the first one is, what is your favorite line from any movie?
Oh, you got me with that. Um,
I know I have.
Something, okay, there's a lot, but something me and Marva, we always say, it's from The Wiz, which is my favorite movie. And I say because I have a lot of them, but I absolutely love The Wiz, and there's so many moments in there. But in the beginning, when Diana Ross says, what's a whiz? They just went through all this whole thing, and then she like stops him like, what's a whiz? And then Miss One was the first good witch. She
Yes.
says, what's a whiz? We always do that. And then
Oh,
there's this other one. Uh, actually, that's not from a movie, but calling people up. Well, that's not nice. I'm not even gonna say it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's biblical though, but I don't think we should be saying it. I'm gonna say because it is in the Bible, and we were talking about spiritual things. But calling people and you uncircumcised Philistine, which we don't believe in non-circumcision.
right. So,
So
what movie is that
that's
from?
mutilation. I don't know. It's just something probably because we just grew up knowing the phrase and what it meant, which is probably why again why we shouldn't be calling people that. And
Right.
also because we don't believe in circumcision because
Uh,
it's mutilation, according
oh,
to us, our opinion of it.
oh, okay.
It's one of
I
those things again was done away with when Jesus came. So
right. I know. I know. I was like, oh gosh, I put this up here, and now I have to come up with stuff. I'm like, there are so many. But I guess the one that comes to mind is from Twilight, the first movie where he's like, "Oh, so you're not afraid that you're going to be in a house full of vampires. You're afraid that they're not going to approve of you."
yeah,
I just think that
that's a
is
good one.
so yeah, cuz I could resonate with that because I'm such a vampire girl,
Hmm.
and I would be like, "Oh yeah, let's go hang out with vampires." I I would not it wouldn't even the thought of them harming me would not even come would cross my mind because I'm just like, I just want to go hang out with the vampires.
I do
So
too. Something just popped in my mind. I love City of Angels, Nicolas Cage and Meg Ryan,
yeah.
when she describes the pear. I never thought about it, but it's perfect. It's like sweet sand, sugary sand. She says sugary sand. Like little
Oh,
little things like that are very memorable to me.
yeah.
He tells her to describe it because he didn't have the context. And she said it's like sugary sand.
Yeah. Okay, ready for a controversial one?
Sure.
Is
I thought
soup
we already
some
started. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
no, this one. Is soup something you eat or drink?
It depends on the soup.
See, that's what I said.
But I don't like those cups. You know how Campbell's, other companies do it too, but they have the one you can microwave in the thing.
Yeah,
I don't
and
like that. I like to actually look at my soup, and I have a relationship with soup, with all my food. I don't want to drink it from a thing, a pop top. That's kind of weird to me.
right?
Oh, and speaking of auntie, are you weird like me? Like you still chew even though it's all the way like brothy? It's like habit. I still chew nothing.
Oh, no, well, it depends on the soup because a lot of the soups that I like, they have like little teeny tiny bits of meat in them.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so those, yeah, even though they're like so super tiny, I could just swallow them. I actually do chew them.
Yeah.
So it really depends. Yeah. So okay. Now I'm getting in your business. Do you have a secret tattoo?
No.
I don't either. I like tattoos, but I like them on other people. I personally well, let's rephrase this. If they find a way to do them other than needles, then I would consider doing getting one.
Henna. And you seem like the person that would have had henna before.
Oh, is that really
Henna
considered
tattoo.
is that
Yes, it
considered a
is.
tattoo? Oh,
Yes, ma'am.
oh.
Mm-hmm.
See, I guess when I think of tattoos, I think of something that is permanent, that isn't going to fade over time.
Yeah, and they even fade over time. And the reason why I even paused is because there's one that I have on my left breast. It's not secret because it depends on what I'm wearing that you can see it, right? But
Ooh.
I don't intentionally hide it ever. I just put on what I'm putting on. And some people they can see the little ears sticking up. It's a panther with the rose in her mouth,
Oh,
a
okay.
panther head. And then also I have one on my ankle. It's a if I'm wearing pants, it's hidden again. But no, they're not secrets. It just depends on what I'm wearing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I bet we lost Auntie Marva because you guys have had so many hurricanes and your cell towers are still down.
Yeah. She was on the move.
Yeah, because she was heading back home. So, but we'll catch her next month. But this was a good topic that she picked.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was.
yeah. So I'm in charge of the topic next month, and we will be talking about long distance relationships,
Hmm.
setting boundaries, and building trust. And
That's a good
so,
one.
yeah. And so our time has come to an end for this month.
We have a brand new segment for next month too.
Okay. Have you narrowed it? Have you nailed it down?
Yes,
Okay. And it's not going to be changing every 5 minutes.
it might.
Uh,
It might. But the
Oh my
segment itself
gosh.
is the segment itself,
Okay. So
which
what
is
is your segment?
Do you remember when?
Okay.
That's the name of it.
That's the name
Now,
of it.
we'll let that roll around in people's heads until such a time as we launch it.
Well,
1 month.
you already said we were launching it next month, so you are committed now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that is Auntie Janisha's segment. Do you
Hmm.
remember when?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you everyone for hanging out with us for another month. We really love and enjoy when you hang out with us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.
Right.
Everyone be safe. If you or your family is in Florida or any of the areas where the
North
tornadoes
Carolina, yeah.
tornadoes are, we hope everyone is safe. We hope everyone gets power and lights on soon. Well, they're the
The
same
help
thing,
that you
but
need. Because
yeah,
some
get
of
all
those
the help you
pictures and videos are
need. And
horrible.
yeah.
Speaking of, I actually ran across we were talking about clowns earlier, and I wanted to put this out there for anybody who is able. It's an organization that's been around for 28 years, so it's well established. It's called Clowns Without Borders.org. It's the website clownswithoutborders.org. And if you are able to give, they go around to areas affected by different things and just bring a little joy. I know everybody doesn't like clowns, but I thought it was kind of fitting because of Halloween, which is something I don't celebrate, but it is people in costume, so I thought it was kind of fitting for October. But that's clownswithoutborders.org. Check them out, and if you can help, help. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm not going to say what I think about clowns. But anyway, on that note, we love everyone and we will see everyone next month. We love you
All right.
and be
Show
safe.
love,